I'm in so much pain, and I'm drinking flapjack juice, so...
That's not what it's called.
It's not what it's called?
It's time to hack the movies. Today, we're talking about tapes with Tony and Newt.
Talking about tapes.
Hello, Hack the Movies video.
Hi, do you guys have Rhinestone? My Betamax player broke and I can't play my only copy.
What stone?
Rhinestone.
Is that the Dolly Parton?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dolly and Sylvester Stallone.
No, we don't have Rhinestone. We have Romeo Must Die, Ronin, and Rambo 3. Will any of those do?
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
We don't have Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Do any of those movies have the song Drinking Stein with Sylvester Stallone wearing a crazy outfit? Music written by Dolly Parton? I don't think so.
All right, I don't know what to tell you, dude. We don't have Rhinestone. Bye.
I'm going to leave these guys a terrible Yelp review.
Hello, Newt.
Hey, Tony.
We had a lot of fun yesterday. We had so much fun.
We're officially into the wacky costumes chapter.
We are into the wacky costumes chapter. I am wearing my outfit from the AVGN Fear and Loathing episode.
And you made me wear a hat, and I'm too tired and sore and everything to say no.
So I'm not rocking my... So if you were wondering why I had that mustache a few months back, it was for the AVGN Fear and Loathing episode. Mm-hmm. Now, I imagine the episode is out now. Mm-hmm. We're recording it beforehand. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to assume everyone loved my performance.
I think every time you're on Cinemassacre, people are just like...
And I think that, yeah, I'm sure a lot of the comments are basically saying, more Tony, less Newt, more Tony.
I don't know about that.
So speaking of Fear and Loathing, we had some fun. Mm-hmm. We had some drinks, and we watched... Fear and Loathing.
This stuff tastes like alcoholic pancakes.
It's great. Our good friend Gary gave that to us.
Yeah.
And it tastes awesome.
Yeah.
So is that Japanese whiskey. Is that Japanese whiskey?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good too. That's a little too strong for me right now.
I gave Justin a $200 bottle of whiskey for his birthday that he still hasn't opened, so...
What an asshole.
I know.
I gave him a Baby Yoda mask.
Okay.
And a $20 gift certificate to Taco Bell. I don't know if he's used either. So yes, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson, which I'm learning from your notes from Wikipedia. His name is Stockton Thompson. Huh.
I knew who he was. I've actually realized I'd never seen this movie all the way through.
Really?
I've only seen parts of it, which is crazy because I've seen Where the Buffalo Roam from 1980 or 81.
I don't remember if I've seen all of that one all the way through, but I've seen a little bit of it.
And then there was another one that was like Gonzo Nation. That was like a documentary that I think I saw.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the line in Almost Famous where they're like, we already have one Hunter S. Thompson. That's what I remember from that movie. And everyone sings Tiny Dancer.
Yes. So he was a journalist?
Yeah. He created the Gonzo style of journalism.
Okay.
I wrote a bunch of notes here.
Yeah, read those notes.
Yeah, he first rose to prominence with the publication of Hell's Angels in 1967, a book which he spent a year living within riding with the Hell's Angels Motorcycle Club to write a first-hand account of his experiences. All of his novels feature characters who are crazed, self-destructive. They all feature angry rants, and most of the characters are based on him and his experiences, which is also how I write, but I don't do drugs, so...
What a prude.
I know. I need to start.
I don't do drugs. I'm against drugs. I'm not a drugs addict.
My fucking arm hurts so bad.
Well, we got into that fight.
Well, yes, we got into that fight. And nothing else.
And nothing else.
He says, I hate to advocate drugs, alcohol, violence, or insanity to anyone, but they've always worked out for me.
Wait. How do you advocate for insanity? Hey, you should try insanity.
Yeah.
Hey, can I sell you some insanity?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the character of Duke in Doonesbury, the comic strip, is based on him. Do you know what Doonesbury is?
Nope.
Oh, really?
Is that a Boomer comic?
Yeah, it's a Boomer comic.
Boomer. Yeah, so this movie was kind of made before, sorta.
Yeah.
Where the Buffalo Roam with
It's
Bill Murray.
Yep.
And if you look him up, he looks exactly like the Raoul Duke cat. Is he Raoul Duke or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Never seen that one. So yeah, I guess Martin Scorsese and Oliver Stone tried to get this off the ground.
And it did not work out for them. There was another director, I didn't write it down, who dropped out like right before the movie had started.
Yeah.
And Terry Gilliam from Monty Python.
This is very much a Terry Gilliam movie.
We were sitting down here watching it, and Kieran was just like, wow, a lot of this rings really true. Like the camera angles and the colors, you know.
Yeah, the colors are really trippy.
Yeah.
Not normal like in here right now.
No, not at all.
Just a normal episode, just nice, even white lighting.
When we're not going to lay down.
Benicio Del Toro, who our fans know as DJ from The Last Jedi.
Yes, everyone knows him best from The Last Jedi.
DJ from the... They never even said his name.
No,
They
and I thought he
never
would come
said
back
his
in the next one as like the Lando who like redeems himself, but they were
No.
just like, nah.
He's so terrible.
Back in the corner, Ryan Johnson.
I like Benicio Del Toro. I liked him in that James Bond movie everyone hates, License to Kill.
Oh, yeah, he was in
the second
License to
Timothy
Kill,
Dalton one.
yeah.
I really like License
Yeah.
to Kill. I
liked him in The Wolfman, but like, and I liked The Wolfman, but the CGI like was just fucking terrible.
What about the wrestling match at the end?
Oh,
the werewolf
yeah.
wrestling match?
Yeah,
That
with
made the movie
Anthony
for me.
Hopkins.
The rest of the movie, I'm like, this is stupid. And then they got to do a werewolf wrestling match. I'm like, I'm in.
Well,
I'm in.
I like the period setting, and it felt, you know, and apparently he's like a huge fan of like the original, you know, the original Universal monsters.
Listen.
Yeah.
There are monsters in this movie, but we're
Yes,
not
there
talking
are.
about that right
No,
now.
we'll get there.
However, if you're a fan of the Universal monsters, you check out Mummy Cop. It's on YouTube.
I've heard about that.
It's not a movie. It's a web. People think it's a movie. It's a web series.
You should
Anyway,
turn it into a movie.
who's
Come
got
on,
the time?
you're so famous now.
Who's got the time? Jesus Christ, I'm doing too much. I'm doing 2 of these a week. All right, how's this fucking movie begin?
You're in charge.
Raoul Duke
Yes.
and Dr. Gonzo. They're driving through the desert.
Yeah.
They're being attacked by imaginary bats. But I like that he's swatting at the invisible bats, but then a real one falls.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that part of his imagination?
Nope, that really happened. That was just lucky.
Yeah, and Dr. Gonzo is his attorney, who I'm dressed as,
Yes.
who I played in that nerd episode.
You made me wear a hat. I don't like wearing hats.
You're wearing that hat. You wear that fucking hat.
And you told, get in here, you're about to get laid. And I was like, oh.
And who do they pick up on their journey?
They pick up Tobey Maguire. They pick up Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, Spider-Man. He's got, his hair is like thin and blonde, and he looks like the Pancakes kid from Cabin Fever. And in the close-ups, you could still see where like they just sprayed his hair.
Yeah. And it's like weird. He has this weird receding hairline.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
He's wearing the shirt of Ralph Steadman, I think is his name. I just knew it was Ralph. Steadman did the original designs for the book.
Okay.
That like the poster, everybody, like every dude in college has had that Fear and Loathing poster, you know?
Right.
And originally the plan was Ralph Bakshi, who did like Wizards and stuff like that, was going to do this as an animated movie all in that style.
That would have been cool.
And I remember hearing that on NPR years ago, and I just stored that little nugget of information, and Justin was like, that's a really good idea. Like,
This could work as an animated movie. It's pretty... be a bitch to animate. But,
yeah.
But then you can go really crazy with the visuals. And, Hunter S. Thompson. All right, so we flash back to why they're there.
Yeah.
He's a journalist. He's with his attorney. He gets a call to cover a motorcycle race.
Desert 400 where there's going to be 400 motorcycles,
Yes.
and you can't see what's going on because it's just like Mad Max times out there.
Yes,
But
and
then
he's-
Dr. Gonzo's there to kill somebody, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
And in the movie, Raoul Duke is mean to a
Little person.
uniformed dwarf is how he's credited.
And I read it really quick, and I thought it said uninformed dwarf, and then Tony said that I get a lot of things wrong on this show, so that's me.
Yeah, because you are very tiny, so you're the uninformed dwarf.
And then, but in the DVD commentary track, because they're really mean to the little person, and in the commentary track, Hunter S. Thompson's like, "That's bullshit. I would never be mean to someone of short stature," and he like got really upset at Terry Gilliam for that,
Oh, and then we get a cameo by the Archangel Michael.
which is weird.
Or is it Gabriel? Who's the one with the flying sword?
It's Gabriel.
Is it?
Yeah.
He didn't look like Christopher Walken.
Or Tilda Swinton.
Or that guy from Legion, which is a ripoff of
Who's the guy in
The
Legion?
Prophecy.
Was it
Kevin Durant, I think.
the basketball player?
No.
Kevin Durant's a basketball player.
There's Kevin Durant is the guy who played the Blob in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I think he was.
Oh, I try to block that movie out of my mind.
I think he was Gabriel.
Wasn't like Wyclef Jean in that movie?
I don't know.
Yeah, like I remember they offered a part to they offered the part to the dude from Lord of the Rings who was also on Lost, but that
Right.
part was originally supposed to go to Edgar Wright, and Edgar Wright was like, no, and they're like, well, we don't really need an actor for this, we just need like a face, and then they cast that dude, and that dude was like, the fuck, dude, I was in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, this
He was
is
supposed to be Beak, but then he
Yeah.
had different powers.
that movie was terrible.
I'll tell another story that day.
Okay.
When I met Will I Am. It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well, I got yelled at by his manager. Anyway.
Oh,
So the Archangel's there, and
the flaming sword.
I was raised Catholic, so I should know who it is, but I haven't been a Catholic.
It's one of those characters from that fairy tale book.
Whoa. Historical text,
Oh,
you
yes, I'm
asshole.
sorry. The Earth is 6,000 years old.
Our
Oh my
audience
God.
is very diverse. You don't want to alienate them. Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. So they rent a convertible.
Yeah. Oh, this is it.
They drive over it too. Like, wow, you just backed over that concrete curve. You guys gonna be careful?
He's like, are you guys gonna be? Or have you guys been drinking while Benicio Del Toro is drinking? Like,
This reminds me when Trailer Park Boys were good with Mr. Leahy. How he was always there's that one episode where he's just driving in the back of his car, just nothing but liquor bottles, and then he gets out of the car and they spill everywhere. Yeah, so I like when they flat cut back to them with Tobey Maguire. Dr. Gonzo momentarily cuts out of his trance. He's like, "Why are we in the desert?"
medicine.
But then he goes right back
Yeah.
into it. He just pulls out the gun.
What the fuck are we doing out here in the middle of the desert? Somebody call the police. We need help. We need help. We need help. We need help.
So do people hate this? I feel like this is a movie a lot of people probably hate. I love it.
I
haven't seen it since college.
Yeah.
But like people were like, didn't make any sense. I'm like, I don't think it was really supposed to. I think it's being written by a guy on drugs,
Yeah, and
remembering
it's-
his time on drugs.
Exactly.
So none of it's gonna make sense.
Did you ever see Inherent Vice
No,
with
I
the
didn't.
Joker?
I didn't.
Yeah.
The Joker.
One of the Jokers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not. I like that director, but I heard
Yeah.
that wasn't as good.
We inherited a lot of props from that movie at the other studio.
Really?
Because they filmed it in like Newark.
Oh.
And all like the 80s, like the insides of the apartments and stuff like that. A friend of mine was making her college film, her thesis
Yeah.
film, and they were like, yeah, just come get this stuff. So Joe Lascola worked on the robot and the brain for her college
Oh,
film.
cool.
Yeah, and all the apartment stuff was all from the Joker. It's all sitting in a box
From
somewhere.
the Joker?
Yeah.
You mean Inherent Vice?
No, Joker.
Oh.
But the Joker
You
was-
moved to a different. I'm in trouble.
I'm
keeping
in
up.
so much pain and I'm drinking flapjack juice, so
That's not what it's
Is that
called.
what it's called? Can we make it though?
What is it called?
It's Rattlesnake Rosie.
Rattlesnake Rosie's maple bacon flavored whiskey.
Flapjack juice is a good name, man. Every episode I'm on, I'm giving you guys gold.
that just broke my brain.
That was like when we were doing Ninja Turtles and Mike just powered down at one point.
Flapjack. I'm sure that episode's out by now. I'm sure that was a very well
I'm
received
sure
episode.
everyone liked it.
Let's look at some nice comments we got from the.
Oh my god, I'm too sore for this.
So Tobey Maguire runs away.
Tobey Maguire runs away.
And they show up in Vegas. And they can't stop hallucinating.
But like the way that they're fucking walking in the thing, like the crazy walk, they all
So they do a lot of crazy walks, and I had to imitate it for the AVGN episode. And like, there's not a lot of room on that green screen, and I'm like leaning back, and it like started to hurt after a while because then I also have all the Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
On me. Oh man. So at some point, in the bar, Raoul Duke, Johnny Depp, who I think is a great actor. I know you hate him.
He's in my favorite movie of all time.
But you hate him. You and Zack Snyder, you called him a liar. You said male abuse isn't real and Amber Heard did nothing wrong. That's what you said. I heard you say it.
I don't remember saying that, but again...
Zack Snyder was like, Amber Heard, come back for the reshoots because Johnny Depp's a liar and I hate men. And then you stood up during the review and you went...
It's weird that they put that scene of Zack Snyder coming onto the movie.
He did.
In the That's weird. Is that in the Justice is Gray cut?
That's in the Justice is Gray cut.
In a society, and then Zack Snyder comes out and does that and then walks off, and they're like, that took me out of the movie.
There's also a scene where someone just goes, how is Clark Kent back? And then they go, oh. Anyway.
You better say booyah.
That's his catchphrase. So he's in the bar and he just has a nightmare about reptiles.
Yeah,
and the animatronics in the suit look awesome.
Yeah, they're like these fucking dinosaur people. Yeah. And they're all wearing the clothes of the people who were there. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like fucking and ripping each other apart and there's blood everywhere.
It's so cool. The puppet work is amazing. It reminds me of some stuff in like The Meaning of Life. There's a lot of weird monsters in that. I love Terry Gilliam's like weird monsters.
Well, I love in Meaning of Life where there's just they fall into a UFO, they leave the Earth, and then they come back, and then it's never spoken of again for the rest of the movie.
Was that in Meaning of Life?
Oh, it was Life of Brian.
Life of Brian. Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, Meaning of Life has other weird shit. They have the I Wonder Where the Fish Could Be.
Yeah.
There's that weird elephant man, which looks like it could fit perfectly in this movie.
So that movie haunted me in my youth because when in middle school, kids started getting into Monty Python and stuff like that. And what's the one line in Holy Grail that would haunt me?
Oh, she turned me into a newt.
People used to say that to me all the time, and I was like, people also think that I'm named after Newt from Aliens.
Yeah.
But no, I'm 5 years older than that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Cleese. I saw John Cleese live, not last year, the year before. From Monty Python. He was really funny.
Oh, really?
If he ever tours again, see John Cleese. He does a really good multimedia show. He tells stories and he plays clips, and they're really, really funny. They're back in their hotel. I love that their photographer shows up and they're so paranoid because they're on every drug. And they make sure to remind you that like drugs are super illegal at this point. Like, they drive into Vegas and it's like, remember, 20-year sentence for marijuana. So they think he's like a narc. But for some reason, they think there's a conspiracy where people are setting them up specifically. So the photographer's trying to be their friend. And he's like, I'm going to see myself out. Hold on. Yeah, hack the movies video. What do you want?
Peanut Brittles. I thought this was the number for the HD DVD Warehouse Emporium. Well, since I have you on the phone, I'm looking for a copy of Doom on, of course, the superior format HD DVD.
You want an HD DVD?
That's correct. Do you need me to spell it for you? That's H, D, D, V, D, D. No, just the one D there.
Nobody wants HD. It's a dead format. Don't you ever call my legitimate business. We sell VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, Betamax. I have my grandmother's Betamax here, of Officer and a Gentleman. We sell that. We don't sell HD DVDs of anything because HD DVD sucks. Blu-ray 1, get over it! Oh, I do have Doom.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I feel bad for that guy now.
Yeah, he's fine.
It was all a lie. It was all a lie. Take me away from this ugly place, Harry's. Take me to Hogwarts with you. And you too, Clive Owen. I want to be inside a man with you as well.
They finally get to the race.
They do get to the race.
And Raoul Duke does an absolutely terrible job of covering the race.
I like that all the journalists, though, are in like an old-fashioned saloon.
It's called the press room, but then someone wrote
the
a press room.
And then he's going to drink his beer, and the dude comes in and shakes all the fucking sand out. So for the rest of the thing, he's walking around covering his beer. I
remember, so this movie doesn't have much of a plot, if you will. But
it's just a series of things. This
is part of it. Yeah. Like, it's like, okay, he's supposed to be covering this, and he's not doing a good job. He's barely paying attention. What was that?
That was work trying to get a hold of me. It's been a long day.
So eventually the photographer finds him and they pick him up. And then I forget what does he do that gets him kicked out of the Jeep?
Oh, yeah.
We literally just watched this.
He's in the middle, because we were saying that we wanted to cut the scenes of that in with the nightmare sequences in Batman versus Superman, Mad Max.
Mad Max
and then
sequences.
You said that the War Boys are in Space Jam 2.
Yeah.
And then we got lost, and the next thing we remember was like, oh, there's Charlize Theron or Cameron Diaz.
Before
Cameron Diaz.
Before that, we go back to Vegas. I don't know how they got there because I can't remember. This is the second time I've watched this in like a month.
Yeah.
I just can't remember. So they run in, they go to see a Debbie Reynolds, God rest her soul, Debbie Reynolds concert. And there's like a 3-minute build up to this.
Yeah.
And they really take their time, like buying the tickets, getting ready.
Talking to the guy into letting him in because it's a sold out show.
Yes.
And they go in.
They're in for 10 seconds.
And they're kicked out.
Everyone throws them.
But so Debbie Reynolds' daughter was Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And Carrie Fisher was friends with Terry Gilliam, and he's like, hey, I'm doing this movie. Would your mom record new lines? And she thought it was hilarious, so Debbie Reynolds recorded the lines that she says in the 10 seconds that they're in there. And then what happened to Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher?
Carrie Fisher died, and then a few days later, her mom's heart gave out on her. Mm-hmm. So Carrie Fisher's mother died of a broken heart.
Yeah.
Much like Princess Leia's mother, Queen Senator Amidala, died of a broken heart.
Here's the thing. The worst character in all of Star Wars is the nurse robot. She had one job in a futuristic utopia to make sure that baby Luke...
It's a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away, right? Yeah, they didn't have centralized medicine, socialized medicine.
They didn't. Not in Coruscant.
But remember when they're like, change your Facebook picture to your favorite character from Star Wars? I made that mine, and people are like, you're a monster.
I did a May the 4th be with you graphic, but it was like Rose, Holdo, Jar Jar Binks, Dexter, Jexter, and a pork.
Dexter Jexter, the 1950s diner in outer space.
Which is good.
No,
that was very good. It's very. I shouldn't have included him because he's from when Star Wars was good.
The only time Star Wars was good, actually.
Yes. Okay, so they're in a circus now.
Yeah, they're in a, and this is my favorite part in the entire movie.
They walk past a Kong statue.
Yeah,
which shows up again later in the movie.
And apparently now it's outside of Johnny Depp's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were saying I got to Photoshop it into Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, because the King statue. Kong
yeah.
Which I finally watched on HBO Max.
How was it?
Better that I could hear what was going on. And I wasn't watching little fuckers like.
Isn't it weird that guy was supposed to be Dr. Serizawa's son? And they didn't mention anything about it? Should have changed his name. Anyway, the circus scene is great.
Yes.
You get some cameos from Vern Troyer. And Penn Jillette.
Mm-hmm.
I got the pleasure of seeing Vern Troyer in person before he died. Well, not like right before, the year.
You weren't there in the room?
I was there in the room.
With a pillow. Shh, go to sleep. You'll never have to watch The Love Guru again.
I did not kill Vern
It's like the guy in Suburban Commando.
Asshole.
The guy in Suburban Commando who throws his dog in the lake like to spare it.
No, that was Mr. Nanny.
Oh, was it?
It was Mr. Nanny. He throws the dog in the lake.
Hulk Hogan's a racist.
No, he's not. He is hosting WrestleMania this year with Titus O'Neil. How could he be racist? The carousel bar is pretty good in the movie.
So everything has like weird trippy lighting, fucking this weird shallow focus. Everything feels like it's not quite fisheye. It feels like you're drunk, high, whatever.
It's very disorienting.
Yeah. So
especially when you drink a flapjack juice. It makes
a lot of flapjack juice. I'm gonna have another short stack when we're done here. That's my new nickname, short stack.
Yeah, so they're in the carousel bar, and you guys all like were talking about how like that would be a terrible bar. I think I would have a lot of fun with that. I do have motion sickness though, so maybe
I know when we drove to the Vampire Museum, you, Crystal, and your girlfriend were all just like,
well,
I also drive like a fucking maniac.
I was kind of doing an accident on the way to the Vampire. That was more on you than it was I think you made my motion sickness worse, to be honest. But anyway, I love that Dr. Gonzo is just freaking out and he can't get out of the carousel bar. So like Johnny Depp has to like run in and kick him out.
He's like, somebody kicked me. He's like, oh, it's probably that guy over there. There's an orangutan in a doctor's outfit.
Orangutan.
Orangutan?
It's orangutan.
Orangutan?
Yes.
Paul Giamatti played one in the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes.
We have a Michael
there.
Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
It's orangutan.
Rest in peace, Michael Clark Duncan,
yeah.
man.
How do you pronounce that that caveman that preceded Homo sapien? Not Cro-Magnon Man, the other one.
Kieran?
Neanderthal. No, it's tall. It's
Neanderthal?
I took an anthropology class in college, and it made me a real asshole. Anyway, what are we doing?
We're having, you having a roommate who's too drunk.
Oh, yeah. So Johnny Depp's got to bring what's-his-face back to the hotel, and Dr. Gonzo's like really having a bad trip, freaking out. And it reminded me of when I had a bad roommate at a hotel.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
Well, I was at MagFest. I think it might have been my first MagFest. Okay. And this is when my eye was really bad. And also...
So 3 episodes ago?
No, this is when I first, this was the year I stabbed.
Oh, okay.
And I always get really sick at MagFest. The last MagFest I went to, I got lucky. I got sick after MagFest, but I never fails. Night 1 of MagFest, everything's great. Night 2, I'm like, ugh, and then I got to film 10,000 videos while I'm dying, kind of like right now. I'm in bed. My eye is like killing me. I feel like shit, and then my roommate comes in, who will remain nameless. Let's call him Jason Goldberg.
I hope someone watching this goes, I never fucking roomed with that greasy bastard.
So Jason Goldberg comes in, bleeding.
Okay.
And then yelling at me. And then he lays down. He can't breathe right. So I'm like, hey, man, you should probably turn on your side because I don't want you to die.
You don't want to Jimi Hendrix yourself?
Yeah, and then he kept saying, what are you, a cop? You're going to read me my rights? And then he repeated that 70 times. Then eventually I was like, you know what, man? If you die, that's on you. And then the next day, as I'm leaving my room, where he's completely obliterated, I'm looking at the walls of the hallway, and Jason Goldberg, apparently when he cut his hand, he thought it was really funny to just put blood on all the walls. That Jason Goldberg.
Jason Goldberg does stuff like that. One time I had to push Jason Goldberg around Atlantic City in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because he had thrown up all over
Oh,
himself.
that Jason Goldberg's an asshole. Thankfully, we're covering up his name.
Yes, no one will
Because if the real
know.
Jason Goldberg were here right now, he'd be really pissed.
Yeah, excuse me.
I'm Jason Goldberg.
No, I'm Justin Silverman.
Oh.
Talking about
Jason Goldberg.
Yes, Justin. We're not talking about you. We're talking about Jason Goldberg.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, goodbye, Justin.
He's not in the same tribe.
So the next day, we get a cameo from Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
She's like flirting with the photographer. And Dr. Gonzo, I forget what his reason is. He decides to show up the knife.
The knife, yeah. Then they leave the when the elevator opens and
there's
all
just
like
2 nice people there, and he's just like,
got the fucking knife. And then he's back in the room. He's like, "See, we were in love. We made eye contact. She's in love with me." Like,
I love how Raoul Duke is just as confused by the story of the movie as we are. Because there's one part where he's like kind of coming to. And he's like, who won the race? Maybe nobody won. I don't know what's going on here. And you're like, yeah, I thought the race was a big deal, but I guess not.
but that was kind of like the thing in Inherent Vice. There was like no story whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the end of it, they're like, well, what did we learn? And they'd be like, not to do it again, I guess.
But then he gets into a fight with Dr. Gonzo. And then he smokes something out of a light bulb.
Oh my God, that was so fucking funny. Like, he was just smoking a light bulb.
So yeah, then he flashes back to the 60s.
Yeah.
And the Cable Guy song plays. What is the name of that song?
Jefferson Starship, or Jefferson Airplane then.
When the truth is found.
Yeah, Somebody to Love.
Somebody like, yeah. They
Yeah.
were Jefferson Starship in the Christmas special.
Well, they became Jefferson Starship in the 70s and the 80s, and they built this city on rock and roll, which I think is a terrible way to build a city.
Your eyes, I say they look like ease. That's how Jim Carrey sings it in The Cable Guy.
I remember I saw that movie.
I love that movie. That movie's great.
I know.
Oh yeah, so in the 60s flashback, I love where he's just like, and there I was. Oh shit, there I was, and it's the real Hunter S. Thompson.
There I was. Mother of God. There I am. Holy fuck. Clearly, I was a victim of the drug explosion.
Yeah, then he runs into Flea.
Yeah.
He runs into Flea.
Fucking, I said, oh, that's Flea. And you're like, oh, yeah, it is Flea.
And then they're like sniffing each other or something.
Oh, he spilled cocaine on his
right.
red shirt. And this random, like, dude walks in and he, like, Flea is, like, holding on to Johnny Depp and like licking his arm, and he's like, I hope I've ruined that guy's life. Like, now he's gonna go into bathrooms and think that like illicit things are going on.
But then when Raoul Duke wakes up, Dr. Gonzo is just gone.
Yeah.
He's just abandoned.
Just gone.
him. And I love the scene where he's trying to escape the hotel because he thinks it hasn't been paid and he stole apparently, when he was on his bender, he stole things ahead of time.
The toilet paper, the soap, all the fruit. Like, he just keeps taking like fucking fruit.
So that's gonna smell so bad in like a few days. But as he's leaving, like the one guy who works there is like trying to stop him from leaving. He's like, you have a telegram. It's addressed to a Mr. Thompson, but it's made out to you.
Yeah.
He's like, I noticed Dr. Gonzo addressed it from LA, but I thought he was here. And he's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's
like,
upstairs sleeping and he just keeps like stopping and the dude's like hanging onto the car.
Oh, but I love when he gets pulled over first because he thinks he's getting arrested. He's like, I don't know, plenty of books have been written in prison.
Yeah, it was Gary Busey pulls him over.
No, that was afterwards. That was afterward. That's when he's getting pulled over at the hotel. Then when he's driving in the desert, Gary Busey pulls him over.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Gary Busey.
Yeah.
What would his life be like if his brain didn't fall out of his head that one time? So if you don't know, Gary Busey, I think he got in a motorcycle accident. And his brain fell out. Like he suffered like bad damage. And I think the movie he did when he came back was Predator 2.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch the behind the scenes of Predator 2, he's like interrupting people's interviews and rambling bullshit. And everyone's like, that's nice, Gary.
And his son was the weird terrorist guy in Contact.
Jake Busey.
Yeah.
He was the patron saint of rental reviews, I kept saying.
Oh,
Because he mentioned like a couple movies he was in.
What's rental reviews?
Don't worry about it. Yes. So Gary Busey stops him for speeding.
Yeah.
But then he recognizes who he is.
It's like he slows down and then he goes, I'm going to signal the left, and then he's going to think, or the right, he thinks I'm going to pull over, and then he just fucking guns it, and he's like, feel the G's!
But I love that Gary Busey's like giving him advice. He's like, you're going to go to the rest stop, you're going to take a nap. But he's like, he's clearly trying to set me up.
Yeah.
But then Gary Busey's like, can I have a kiss?
Yeah.
And apparently he ad-libbed that, and they just left it in.
Gary Busey, apparently Hunter S. Thompson was like mortified by that, but it made Terry Gilliam laugh, so they just left it in the movie.
But yeah, so at this point, he's like full-on conspiracy mode. He thinks everyone's after him. He sees Tobey Maguire again, and he thinks like he's in on it. He's like, oh no. So then he calls Dr. Gonzo, and Dr. Gonzo's like, didn't you read my telegram? He's like, what telegram? He's like, I booked you a room. You're supposed to cover the district attorney's conference on drugs and alcohol.
Which is amazing. And he's like, I want to get the drug mind on drug prevention.
Yeah.
And that's what he's there to write it as. And you're just like, holy shit.
Then he's firing bullets into the open, and he talks about the Great Magnet.
Yeah.
And I fans of the Dick Show know what the Great Magnet is. It's that unspeakable force that leads you to things you're supposed to go to.
So when I lived
when you don't have God in your life.
Yeah.
You just follow the Great Magnet. Just, you know what? There's something telling me to do this, and I'm going to follow it.
But hold on, magnets, how do they work?
I was going to ask a scientist, but those motherfuckers be lying, and they getting me pissed. Oh, fuck. We shouldn't mention that, because we have that fan who keeps bothering Shaggy
That's fine.
Two Dope.
I think it's funny.
We have a fan that he pays to leave comments on Shaggy Two Dope's podcast
and
about us.
They just keep reading though.
And they never know what he's talking about. And then the one day they Googled me.
Yeah.
But all you find are pictures that weirdos on Reddit made of me, like half naked flexing, and they're like, "Who gives a shit about this guy?" And I'm like,
they're like,
damn it.
"What the fuck's a Toby from Hack the Movie?" And I was like, "This is great."
So at this point, you took over the notes.
I did take over the notes
because my phone died. So you should lead the review from now on.
Oh, but I wanted to say about him firing guns in the desert. I used to live in Tucson.
Yeah,
and like once you get out of the city, there's just a lot of nothing for large swaths. And Justin's dad used to have me go on adventures with him to go pick things up for the bar.
Rock and Rob
Silverman.
That guy who juiced in all his fights.
Yeah. Well, he used to own a gay bar in Tucson that I used to hang out at when I was waiting to go to work.
You hung out at a gay bar?
A lot of them.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so we were driving into the desert, and there's like big cacti.
Yeah.
That are like the size of like a person. And then a dude stepped out from behind one. And we stopped the car because we were going to see that guy.
Okay.
And I'm terrified now because this person looks like a chainsaw sculpture. And he's like, oh, we're going to go pick up this thing over here and you're going to help him load it into the truck. And I'm going to be over here. And I'm like, all right, we'll go over here. So the guy having a conversation with Justin's dad walks away and just starts shooting a .45 just into the distance. And then he comes back to finish the conversation. It's like when you go to sneeze and you stop.
Yeah.
He did that, but to go shoot a gun.
Okay.
And then he came back, and I'm just sitting in the car like, I need to go back to Pennsylvania.
Maybe I'll be nice to that Tony guy and he'll let me on his show.
Nope. I'm going to be super mean to him. So they go to the cop convention about narcotics at the Flamingo Hotel.
The cop from Halloween 5.
Cop from Halloween 5 is there. And the front desk clerk is Christopher Maloney.
From Man of Steel?
From Man of Steel, yes, yeah. I was going to say Wet Hot American Summer or Law & Order Special Victims Unit, but whatever. He has hair and he's wearing a Matador outfit, and he's very flamboyant in this.
Yeah.
And the the guy who's in front of him is the cop. Apparently, he's like, cops have hassled him.
Yeah. What is that sound?
That's somebody trying to get a hold of me.
Is that the Great Magnet?
It is. It's pulling me back to work.
Resist the magnet.
I know, I'm trying.
How long is this episode? So you got to resist the magnet a little bit longer. I know he said follow it, but not right now. Anyway, continue.
So Christopher Maloney, and he's like, I've been dealing with sons of bitches like you my whole life, and now it's my turn. Yeah. And he's like super mean to him. Then Johnny Depp, Hunter S. Thompson stops up, and he's like, yeah, I'll take my room, and I'll take this ice cream, and I'll take this ice, and I'll do this and that. And and then that guy's just cool with him. And I was like, good for Christopher Maloney.
Remember Christina Ricci?
Christina Ricci's in this movie.
And she comes off crazier than Owen Benjamin.
So she's underage, and she's from Montana, and Dr. Gonzo got her out there from Montana and gave her drugs and alcohol and told her that they're going to go meet Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
And she has all these paintings of Barbra Streisand. And that's all we're going to say about the character that you're currently dressed as.
I should have watched the movie before I agreed to play the character. I mean, I did watch the movie, but not enough to remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching it the night before, and I was like, I had the mustache. I'm like, well, it's too late now.
I've committed to the bit. Tony, it's a bit.
It's a bit. It's a bit. Yeah, so apparently, he's talking about how they need to get rid of Lucy, Christina Ricci.
Yep.
Like, we got to get rid of her. I think they're talking about killing her, but they're trying to move her into another hotel. But I love when they're outside, they look through the peephole and they can see her. I'm like, wait, do they have the reverse peephole from Seinfeld?
Yeah, yep.
People love when I bring up Seinfeld.
They do love Seinfeld.
I know so much about Seinfeld.
I know. I've only literally seen like a couple handful of episodes.
One day, I'm looking at my copy of Seinfeld, Seen It over there. Mm-hmm. I've only played it 3 times. The 10 plus years I've owned it, because I just kept beating everyone, because I wasted many years of my life memorizing everything about Seinfeld.
It's good. And look at you now, dressed as Dr. Gonzo in a video store.
With a Seinfeld reference.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so then they
groovy cool guy speech.
Groovy cool guy speech. So they go, and the dude from Jurassic Park 3 is there.
Superior.
Yes, yeah, that's what I've heard. So they go to this lecture about drugs and why a roach is called a roach, because it looks like a cockroach, and it's just everyone in that room is just fucking gross looking, and
they're lit like real creepy.
Oh my god! So they're listening to this whole thing about how if you're groovy, but then you do enough marijuana, and then you become a cool guy, and they're doing this whole fucking thing.
4 distinct states of being in the cannabis or marijuana society. They are cool, groovy, hip, and square.
And they fucking take off out of there, but they steal the drug, the cases that have how to identify the drugs, and they take them back to the hotel room.
They're open. Yeah. Getting back to gay bars.
Yes.
This is a topic I didn't want to move on from, but I forgot. I went to a gay bar a couple times. But when I was in New Orleans, I visited a gay bar because I wanted to test out a theory. I heard that gay bars put more alcohol in their drinks.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't wonder if that rumor's true. Well, I'm on Bourbon Street, and here's a gay bar. Let me test it out. Holy shit. How do you guys how do you guys live? Like, I was stumbled like these guys out. Like, I had like 3 drinks. I'm like, okay. And then I stumbled out of the bar. I'm like, oh my God, I can never be gay. It's because of this and this alone. Everything else I like. It's just this I can't handle.
Yeah, because you're in there and you're like, well, it's like, I don't really like hot dogs, but sometimes if you're at like a baseball game and you see it there and you're like, that looks good.
Yeah.
You never know.
But yeah, I love the TVs are stacked and they're just playing Vietnam footage because I think he was in Vietnam or maybe he covered some of Vietnam and that's what fucked him up. I forget. I didn't do my research.
No, you didn't.
Very, very
We
tired.
were drinking and we're injured. The set design of that is just so cool. Everything in there, even because when the TV's like also projecting on the wall or on the floor,
it's really cool.
Like when it's dropping the bombs, like it's all on the floor and stuff like that.
And then I like when he flashes the imaginary trial that he'll have.
Oh yeah,
and Harry Dean Stanton makes a cameo. He's like castration. He's chopping nuts.
They're like dressed in like old timey like prison outfits, and they're chained
she's
up.
dressed as like a little girl with a doll. She's just like, I don't know what they gave me, but I remember it was bad.
They're in like the black void, and like all the things are really high. It looks like something like it's so ridiculous. This is a beautiful movie. Like the movie is shot so well and so disorienting. It like feels like what it would be like. I've been high twice in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I did used to run a hotel.
Yeah.
And I've seen some rooms get fucked.
Yeah. Did Vasquez from Aliens ever get attacked?
No, Vasquez, who's not Hispanic, like I don't think
she's everything.
Yeah.
Like her actual nationality is everything.
Really?
Because that was her defense. She's like, I am so many things. I'm like Jewish, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Find me a role that has all of them and I'll play it. Other than that, I gotta take what I can get.
It's like her and the dude who played the assistant in Angels in the Outfield, who was like Native American, gay, black, something else, and Jewish, and you're like, whoa, you run the gamut, my friend.
I do like when Dr. Gonzo's like, as your attorney, I recommend you take something from the brown bottle, but then he takes too much. He starts hallucinating. Way better than the 2010 Wolfman.
Yes.
Benicio Del Toro like transforms into this mutant beast. And it looks awesome.
It's kind of like a cross between like the Where the Wild Things Are and like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video, except it has big tits on its back. It's so ridiculous. And yes, the transformation in that is much better than in the bad CGI 2010.
I think won an Oscar.
It did?
Best makeup.
Oh my God.
Not best visual effects,
no.
obviously, but best makeup. Yeah.
So Johnny Depp wakes up. I'm going to call him Johnny Depp because I feel like Hunter S. Thompson and Johnny Depp probably share a lot of similarities. He wakes up, he has a tail because he's still fucking tripping. He has a microphone taped to his face and a recorder taped to his chest, and all the things that happen that night, he's listening to them back to hear what happened. Yeah. And it starts out with they're at the carousel bar, and they're with like a clown who's dressed like he's in the Moulin Rouge, and the orangutan.
Yes.
Okay. Who's dressed as a doctor, who's drinking a Bloody Mary, and he's like, how much for the monkey? And then like he leaves and comes back, and what they missed was the monkey bit a lady's face off, and like everything goes like fucking insane from that point on, and it's him listening back to it, and he just moves on like, it's a thing that happens.
Yeah. And then at some point they're driving around again.
Yeah.
They find poor Lucy, who's now a street person, and they abandon her. I'm like, that's really mean.
I just wrote the notes, poor Lucy. She could go back to Devon Sawa and live in the Casper house and everything would be fine. This was 2 years after Casper.
Poor Lucy. Don't hook up with Owen Benjamin.
Yeah. I saw Casper at a theater in the Chesapeake Bay, and the roof was like giving way while the movie was running because it was like super old, and you could hear like, and like water was dripping, and I'm like, oh, and we were like in the balcony, so it was all fucked up somewhere. So yeah, so they abandoned Lucy.
Yes.
And then Hunter S. Thompson, Johnny Depp, takes Dr. Gonzo to the airport.
Yeah.
And
this is the ending, I guess?
But
it doesn't really feel like...
But he's like, we're going to be late. And he's like, I've never missed a flight before. And he just guns it through the desert, through the fucking gate, onto the tarmac. The car's like on fire. It's got tumbleweeds all over it.
Yeah.
Dr. Gonzo gets out, goes to the top of the step, does the Richard Nixon thing, which Justin said next time we were on a tarmac, he's going to do that.
There he goes. One of God's own prototypes. A high-powered mutant of some kind never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, and too rare to die.
And then Raoul Duke drives away.
Yeah.
And that's the ending. The movie didn't really have a beginning or a middle or an ending. It was just a series of events that happened, and normally this would be a bad movie.
Yeah.
But in a movie as stylized as this, where the point is that you don't know what's real or not and you don't know what's happening, it works.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with it.
I did too. I just wish that we were in better shape today. Well, I mean, I wish we were in better shape in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you made me wear a hat. I hate wearing hats.
Well, have you tried not being a little bitch about it?
I have.
And shutting up?
No.
Have you tried that, Newt?
You know, you bully somebody for a guy who, you know, I know where you live. I know what car you drive.
I'm not a bully. Okay, I used to be a bully. Oh no, I mentioned I was a bully for a year when I was like 13 or 14. Oh no.
I used to have bullies do terrible things for me.
I started off becoming a bully, bullying the kids who bullied me. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of, because, you know, kids take things too far. And then I evened out.
You're like you ever see Pink Floyd's The Wall?
Yes, I've reviewed Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Some other people have as well. Yeah. And there's like the teacher whipping the thing because his wife whips him. And it's like the series of abuse. Yeah. It's kind of our relationship.
I don't remember whipping you, to be honest.
At that bar we went to in Baton Rouge or wherever the fuck you were. Have you tried the flapjack juice?
You know what was funny? There was an old guy there that looked like Lloyd Kaufman. And I did a video where I'm like, hey, Mr. Kaufman, I love all your films. And the guy's like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're great. Toxic Avenger. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
I felt so, like, that's when I started feeling bad about myself because I would go there and, like, nobody, like, not even like, oh, every guy's going to be hitting it. Nobody even wanted to talk to me.
Yeah,
and I just felt really bad about myself. Knew. Well, yeah.
You weren't in good enough shape.
Yeah. Not a good enough dresser.
And you weren't fat enough.
Yeah.
Or hairy enough.
It's true.
I was given these rules by a man who was oriented that way. Mm-hmm. You have to be in super shape or you have to be big and hairy. I would probably clean house.
It's true.
You'd have to work.
Bear community. There's like a bear and then there's like whatever the opposite of a bear is.
Yeah.
And then I'm in the middle. I'll be like an otter. I make dams and crush nuts on my belly. We better win a GLAAD award this year. I've had enough. I'm done.
So that was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Good movie. Oh no. Oh no. Do I have a weapon?
No.
I have a 1,000 opened cans of Steven Seagal's lightning bolt. Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Justin made me drink that.
Yeah.
And I threw up. It looked like something Shrek would We're done. Episode's over.
No. Stop breaking things.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.